Imagine experiencing something so traumatic that it traps you in your own mind, crippling you mentally to the point where the prospect of leaving your house fills you with that kind of dread, the kind that turns your leg to jelly, blurs your vision, causing the air around you to become suffocating. Your mind is convinced that the outside world is far too dangerous to risk stepping into. But what if the danger doesn't stay outside? What if it forces its way back in? What happens when the trauma that has held you bound resurfaces again from the darkness only to stalk you, reopening wounds that never fully healed? That is the quiet terror that drives Copycat, a film about fear, obsession, and the aftermath of a traumatic event. Welcome back to the Nostalgic Corner, where we revisit the movies that shaped the 80s, the 90s, and of course, the early 2000s. You know, those ones that left your heart racing even after the credits rolled. Today, we are traveling back to 1995 to a thriller that has aged in very interesting ways. It's not the loudest film of its decade, but there's something about it that locks itself inside your mind long after the VCR has gone cold. The movie is Copycat and stars Sigourney Weaver as Dr. Helen Hudson, a criminal psychologist whose life composes of, whose life basically falls apart after a violent encounter with one of her subjects. The attack leaves her terrified of the outside world, a prisoner of her own agoraphobia. The funny part of it is that it keeps her hidden in her own house. But when a new killer emerges, beginning to repeat of history's most notorious murders, the police turn to her for help. Among them is Detective M.J., played by Holly Hudson. No, not Holly Hudson, sorry. Holly Hunter, whose performance consists of matched calm and copy queries. The two women couldn't be more different. One locked in a room in her mind, the other walking through daily ugliness of the world on account of her job. Together they form one of the many character dynamics that makes this film unforgettable. Their relationship is built on mutual recognition, the kind that comes from having both been scarred in two different ways. Weaver's performance is layered and sharp. Her eyes convey the pain that she's experienced, captures the rawness of trauma without turning it into a spectacle. Weaver exerts such pain in her performance that it's captivating. Hunter, on the other hand, gives us a detective who doesn't need to shout to be commanding. She's grounded, she's human, and fiercely capable. Qualities that complement the rest of the cast. Now, what makes Copycat work is its restraint. It's not driven by gore like the slasher movies of the 90s, but by mood alone. The film builds on suspense by using small but effective scenes, the camera angle that focuses on the prop too long, or the crescendo of the music that grows too loud before it's cut off by a false sense of safety. You don't just watch the fear, you feel it crawling on your arm, around the edges of your brain as you watch. That said, it's not without its flaws. There is a scene where one of the detectives in a supporting role gets killed, and his death has absolutely nothing to do with the plot of the film. The person that kills them too has nothing to do with the film at all, and that scene only serves for shock value. The killer himself, the main killer, is underwhelming, almost an afterthought compared to every other one. There's no character development, no backstory that justifies why the killer's rage is heavy towards Dr. Hudson. And by the final act, the film slides into familiar thriller territory, a showdown that feels almost too neat and rehearsed. It's competent but not daring as other parts of the movie. Still, even with those stumbles, Copycat has a quiet power. It understands that fear isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the silence, the wanting, the long nights spent inside your own head. We're watching it now 20-something years later. It's clear that Copycat never got the recognition it deserved. Overshadowed by movies like Seven and Silence of the Lambs, it occupies that in-between space. Not a classic, but not forgettable either. It's a reminder of how 90s thrillers often walk the line between intelligence and intensity, and how rare it was to see women at the forefront of that story. The movie was never about weakness, even though it doesn't shy away from it. However, it's something to navigate, something to live through and overcome. There's a quiet dignity in both leads that you don't often see anymore. They are not invincible, but they endure. And that's what gives this film its lasting weight. Copycat may not really, redefine its genre, but it loiters like a memory you can't quite shake. The kind that doesn't end with the credits. Because real fear never really does that. It endures. It's suppressed till, those silent triggers cause it to resurface again. Well, that's my journey to the past. Till we meet again at the next one, keep your videotapes rewound, your one-liners reloaded, and of course, stay retro.